The fishing news is brought to you by Shoreline Insurance Agency.
Win the incredible Steiger Craft, Evinrude, Lowrance Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com.
Reporting this week from Southwest Florida, where things are getting back to normal now that the red tide has subsided. Lots of fish in the canals, including our nightly visiting catfish. So if you're wintering down in Florida, you should be in good shape. The weather back north looks like, unfortunately, more wind, with Sunday looking like the best day. The November issue of the Fisherman magazine is on newsstands now. Toby Lipinski has a great article about technical jigging for blackfish, and Captain John Raguzzo has an article about the next generation of marine electronics. These are just a few of the great articles in the November issue of the Fisherman magazine. Let's get to the reports. Reporting from the East End, we have Captain Tom Michaleski of Grand Slam Charters. And Tom, what do you got going on out there?
Thanks, Tim. Well, as we all know, on Long Island, it's been pretty windy, so I haven't been out much in Montauk. Today, on Halloween, I got out with Capt. Joe on the Nordic Lady on the North Fork, and we did pretty good with blackfish, up to about 6 pounds. It really didn't bite good until the incoming tide, but once it turned on, a lot of bites, a lot of action, and a couple of sea bass also. We did see a lot of bird life all morning. And we did jig up a couple of little stripers about 20 inches west of Orient Point, but there were birds all day long, and even when we came in, there were more birds. So there was a little bit of activity out there with a lot of small stripers. We didn't see anything big. Other than that, not much to report this week because it's been windy and looks like it's going to get windy again. So we'll see what happens.
Let's check in with Mike Dean from Shinnecock.
Thanks, Tim. Well, recurring theme, a lot of wind, guys not getting off the dock. There have been some breaks in the weather, some real nice sea bass, some real nice tog coming up on Asian crabs, some 10-pounders I've heard of out on the reef, and a couple of random wrecks a little bit east of Shinnecock. In terms of the bass, they're on the beach, mostly a night bite, still on those sand eels. Day bite has been a little spotty here and there, but guys working the inlets and the beaches have definitely got some nice fish. The typical sand eel imitators, A27, tsunami sand eels. At night, a lot of SP minnows been working, bombers. Doesn't seem to be that specific on colors. Some of the lighter colors have been working at night. So it's just one of those things you really have to, put your time in, and you should be rewarded. Outgoing seems to be the tide they prefer, but plenty of fish been caught on incoming as well. So it's that time of year, they're going to be gone soon, so get them while you can.
On the South Shore in Fire Island Inlet, Captain Al Lorenzetti tells me there are fish just outside the inlet on jigs and on plugs. Also, some bigger fish have moved into the bay taking live bait. From Oceanside, let's check in with Captain Joey Legio.
Thank you, Tim. This week I got a lot to report, so let me go over what we did. I'll go through the days, actually. So Thursday, hit the back bays over there by me. Did a little after-work special for like 2 hours. Took my buddy Dave out there with me, and we had 12 nice schoolie stripers, 2 in that 25 to 26-inch range. So that was nice. Great fight, real light tackle. Friday, head out to the bass grounds in the ocean. Obviously, there's a really good bass bite going on right now. I'm sure you heard about it. Guided some people out on their Grady White, and we had a bass limit. We had 4 fish between 30 and 31 pounds, plus a couple others. A real good bite, all on the bunker spoons and on the mojos. Monday we Monday, well, I was a little crazy Monday. Steve and I decided to head out. He wanted to try out his new electric reel, and yeah, we shouldn't have been out there, man. Sometimes, guys, it's not worth it. But we got out there, and it was bad. It was real bad. But we managed 2 bass using the new Dyer electric reels. I tell you, it was pretty cool. It could work if you're out there by yourself. Just put that reel in gear, and you could, fight the fish, or how's that's working a fish, take the other lure in. But it was definitely unique. There's something different. I liked it. It was cool. But I managed 2 bass. But on the way in, that's when it got a little hairy. Jones Inlet on an outgoing tide. It's dangerous, guys. Real bad. Coast Guard was sitting in the inlet waiting for boats to come in. We basically got in there. They pulled us over. Basically thought we were insane, and then just did a quick spot check. But the inlet was pushing 8-foot breaking white water across the whole inlet. Very dangerous, so be careful, man. If you're going out in that high tide, remember on the way back, it's going to be an outgoing. And if you have that heavy south wind, man, it's not good. It's dangerous, very dangerous. So definitely, guys, be careful, especially this time of the year. Where were we now? Tuesday. Tuesday we had another limited bass to 37 pounds. On, again, ocean trolling. We're using bunker spoons, using mojos. You know, basically, you got your Tony Maja spoons. Spice these up a little with my reflective tape. You know, using the white bunker spoons, using the mojos. Get them down there deep. And we've been working that, putting out like 300 feet of wire, 350 feet of wire. And there's a lot of bait there and stuff. I sent you a picture, actually, of my buddy's machine that I took out on, I forget which day that was. You can see like the bass attacking the bait and everything like that. It's really good. You see that bait, you're marking the bass, and the rods were going off. All right, so Wednesday we did another trip. I had the guys from Dye out with me. I took them out, had a nice trip on the troll again. They wanted to try, again, the electric reels, and this one was the 500 series. And he had it filled with lead core, and the reel worked great. Let me tell you, a smaller reel, electric, filled with the lead core, sent that out 350 feet. Got a nice, I think he had a 32 pounder on there today. And it worked really neat, the electric reel. Now, these reels are not just electric. They're like electric assist reels. So you could crank, and then if you want to, take a little break, or if the fish is running up, you could, really juice the energy and have it go into a full electric reel. Or you just back off the electric and go again to the crank and handle. Again, it's something different, pretty neat. He did that with lead core line, and it worked out rather well.
From Island Park News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Olin reported last Friday he trolled up a 34-inch bass on a chartreuse mojo off of Long Beach in 45 feet of water. He said the day was a little slow, but he's looking forward. He said there's plenty of bait out there. He's just waiting for the bigger fish to show up in numbers. Now let's check in with Luke Feeney from Sheepshead Bay.
I was off today for Halloween, and I got out and did some blackfishing and bass fishing. The blackfishing was pretty good. We bounced around some different areas on the Rockaway Reef. We put together a pretty nice catch in 5 to 6 hours with some nice keepers and a lot of shorts in the mix. We used green crabs. Not a lot of people have white crabs yet. It's just not that time of year yet. The water isn't right. But the green crabs seem to work great. And you can use a variety of crabs. Some people like to use the Asian crabs. And don't forget, you could also use the conventional rigs. A lot of people these days think that the jigs are the only way to blackfish. But when that tide gets heavy, you can't get down with those jigs. You need to use those conventional rigs sometimes. When we came back in, the bass were up everywhere. The birds were up. It was about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And we had nonstop bass action for about 2 hours. We were throwing small little Andrus jetty casters, a ½ ounce and an ounce, with an otter tail on the back. And it was just every cast. Small bass, schoolie bass, but it was a lot of fun. We probably caught over 60 or 70 fish. It was just a blast. Get out there and try it. Just go under those birds. You don't necessarily have to chase the birds. You can look on your fish finder too, find those readings, bounce that bucktail on the bottom. That seemed to be the ticket today. And the big bass have moved in on the spoons off of Deb's Inlet. They're catching them pretty nice every day. The conditions have been a little tough, but they are pulling out some nice fish, and you just got to get out there and try, put in the time, and they are catching some really nice fish. This is typically the time of year. But one casualty from the storm was I have not seen any or heard any albie action since the storm. I think the water cooled down just a little too much, and they left the area. The last I heard of them was in Jersey, where the water was 60 degrees, but the water cooled off here a little bit. It's like 58, 57 now. Those albies are completely gone. No albie birds. The albie bait has left. There's still a little albie bait. The bass are on that. But I have not seen any albies, so that's unfortunate. But we had a little run, so that's good.
From Staten Island, we have Mike Menguel.
Hey Tim, hey Fishermen, hope all is well. For this week, I must say, temperatures are just about right, but the wind, not so favorable. Fished out the Verrazano Bridge. The wind and current were opposites. Can't even get a good drift. You're lucky to get a couple striped bass out of an 8-hour run. The conditions have to be there to be more productive, but the fish are there. If you check multiple media sources, you will definitely see that multiple fishermen have been catching quite a few bass. So after this storm passes by, some winds in the 30 to 35 knots, next week should look somewhat favorable. So get out there, guys, sharpen your hooks, and now's the time before Christmas. So let's go.
On the North Shore, let's check in with Peter Tornowski.
Thanks, Tim. Well, it was definitely an interesting week. Towards the end of last week, some pretty good fishing off the shore by Mackinac Beach. I was hitting on some striped bass over there, and went out to the Triangle with some friends where we were hitting on blackfish up to 6 pounds. That all, of course, shut down with the nor'easter, which did significant damage to the beaches in the area. There was a lot of flooding over by Crab Meadow, Mackinac. Also, the Northport town docks were underwater for a little while. Saw some buoys and pilings washed up on the shore and blocking some of the boat ramps. It also shut down the fishing for a couple of days, which was pretty scary because it looked like it wasn't going to turn back on. But I tell you, the last couple of days I've seen schoolie bass flooding the Centerport and Northport harbors. I was out there with my kayak the other day, and it was nonstop schoolie bass action there. From what I heard, it was like that the day before as well. This weekend looks like it's not going to be so good on Saturday. Actually, Friday doesn't look so good either. Sunday does look like it might be a nice day, and I think this action is going to continue. So I'm hoping to get out then. Thanks. Back to you, Tim.
Let's check in with Mark McGowan from Northport, Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle. Mark, what do you got for us?
Hey, thanks, Tim. I just got home from a long day of fishing. We started out early doing some blackfishing and then wrapped up the charter, ran out to the beach and hit up for some striped bass for a few hours. The action's non-stop. I would say that at the moment there's no bluefish around. I haven't seen any. The porgies have moved out, whether you're on the beach or the boat. Doesn't seem like any porgies are biting everything. Dropping the green crabs, sticking away from the Asian crabs right now because the shallow bite's okay, but we're having no problem with the green crabs. The fish are hungry. I would target the last hour and a half of the tides up until the slack, and then kind of stick it out to see if some of the larger fish come out and take your baits. Sea bass, I haven't had any luck with sea bass this past week. It seemed like Friday's heave was huge. In our area, we haven't experienced those type of high tide situations since Sandy was. Our harbor was really flooded out, a lot of parking lots flooded out. The big thing I think is that the outer beaches and the fellas that are trying to do some shallow blackfishing on the north side of Long Island in the Eaton's Neck, Huntington area, really going to have it tough because these storms, the storm was just so huge that I think it really killed the inshore bite for a little while. I was out on a Sunday and it seemed like it was a dead man zone up to a certain point off the beach, and then the fish started picking up again. Most of the blackfish are short, but there's a ton of them, and some nice keepers in if you can stick it out. Put big baits on so that you can allow those larger fish to get through some of the smaller ones, stealing your baits. As far as the surf casting goes off the beaches locally, it's red hot. I mean, I can't tell you how many bass we've had this week. It's just non-stop. All of them are smaller. You're not gonna, if you're a club guy, you're not going to be getting any points. Nothing seems to be over 10 pounds. But if you're one of those people that just likes to go out, have a great time and experience a good fishing moment, I would go out there. Small shads, white shads, Castmasters, trying live lining some of the peanut bunker. If you can cast net some or snag some is a great idea, because the bass right now have the feed bag on. It's like non-stop. South Shore seems like they continue to migrate to the west, but on the North Shore they're just sitting in the harbors and they're gonna keep eating and eating. I think we've got like a good 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks left until they decide to leave, unless some type of big storm comes through and drives them out by dropping the temperatures down. The bait in our area still is just off the hook. I mean, it's unbelievable. You've got squid, spearing, small peanut bunker. I can't tell you that there's any large bunker. I haven't seen a large bunker in a good week or so, so don't count on that. These fish are profiling on like 3-inch, 4-inch baits, so if you want to match the hatch, go with that. And just go out and have a good time. Try to crush those barbs, because the smaller fish are going to grow into bigger fish that we're going to want to catch. So you don't want to beat them up too bad. Release them and let them go on for another day. And that's about it. Thank you, Tim. Back to you.
Let's get the surf report now from Fred Golofaro, the senior editor of the Fisherman magazine.
Hey, thanks, Tim. And some sad news to report this week. Willie Young, legendary surfcaster and a big advocate for beach access and preserving the striped bass resource. He passed away on Tuesday. Great loss to the fishing community, especially the surf fishing community. Big shoes to fill now. Willie was president of Montauk Surfcasters and the New York Coalition for Recreational Fishing. making trips up to Albany on behalf of recreational anglers. Our condolences go out to his family, all his friends, and rest in peace, Willie. On the fishing front, post Northeaster, still plenty of sand eels along the beaches. Didn't seem affected at all. In fact, Sunday, even with that big surf from the storm, there was some good fishing at Robert Moses, and then there was a 50-pounder beached, or just shy of 50 pounds, down at Field 5. Still some good fish filtering into reports, a few 30s from out east the first part of this week. But it's mostly shorts to, a few fish, 12 to 15 pounds mixed in, and that occasional bigger fish popping up. Fishing spread from East Hampton beaches, Montauk's town beaches, all the way down through Jones. Some fish also being taken west of there now. It went from being very rough conditions and a good sweep Sunday, even into Monday. Tuesday's northwest wind flattened everything out, but now we've got some strong southwest winds to contend with the second half of the week, which will kick up the surf, but should also put some more fish and sand eels tight to the beach. Could be good. You might have to turn to 3-ounce bucktails, heavy tins to fish effectively, but there should be fish in the wash the next few days. Wasn't just the South Shore and North Shore, more specifically the North Fork still has quite a few bass up there. Some days very good, some days picky, mostly mornings and evenings. Places like Horton's, Truman's, Mulford, Petty's Bite, and Orient. You just got to move around and find the fish on any given day. But there is good fishing up there. Like I said, mostly small fish, and there are some bluefish in the mix up on the North Fork also. Don't forget, this weekend we got the Jones Beach Classic that kicks off Friday. Fishing begins at 9 a.m., but you actually have until noon on Saturday to register if you can't get away until Saturday. That goes through noon Sunday, and there's an awards thing at Jones Beach Fishing Station after the final weigh-in. Entry fee is $15. You can sign up at the Capt food concession stand, or you can sign up at the Jones Beach Fishing Station beginning tomorrow morning. The boundary lines for that tournament are Debs to Fire Island Lighthouse. So get out there this weekend. We've got some weather coming. It's going to be some rain, some cloudy conditions, which could be good for fishing later in the day. Good luck out there. Until next week, for Golofaro here for thefisherman.com.
Upcoming events, November 2nd through the 4th, we have the Jones Beach Surf Fishing Classic. November 3rd, we have the Dylan Steigerwald Striped Bass Tournament. November 3rd through the 4th, we have the Pelagic Outfitters Striped Bass Classic. And of course, the big one, November 6th, the Riverview Striped Bass Tournament. If you'd like to be part of our weekly video fishing forecasts, we are looking for social media savvy anglers for hyperlocal reporting from around the New York Metro and Long Island area. So if you're a captain, a tackle shop, or just an avid angler, contact me at libayrat@gmail.com. For links and more information, be sure to check out this video's description on YouTube. Remember, like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dream Boat Contest. Get out there and catch 'em up. This is Tim C. Smith for thefisherman.com.